You got your phone going? Just open it up. Hallelujah.
Shabbat Shalom, family. Thank you, Father, for bringing us together. Thank you, Father, for recognizing that we do not celebrate Aviv 14. Wow. Of course, it does not come close to diminishing the meaning of that moment. Psalms 100. Make a joyful noise unto Yah, all you lands. Serve Yah with gladness. Come before his presence with singing. Know that Yah, he is Elohim. It is he that has made us, and not we ourselves. We are his people, and the sheep of his pasture. Enter into his gates with thanksgiving, and enter his courts with praise. Give thanks to him, and bless his holy name. For Yah is good, his loving kindness endures forever, and his truth to all generations. Hallelujah.
The king the joy that came my way. He took away my frowns and all those things that had me bound. I thought about the time that I was walking around in the day. Today I come to show you and give him my praise. Oh yeah, we pray. Hallelujah. Oh yeah, we pray. Give him my praise. Oh yeah, we praise you. Oh yeah, we pray. I was thinking the other day about the joy that came my way. He took away my frown and all those things that had me bound. I thought about the time that I was walking around in a day. But today I come before you, giving my praise. Oh yeah, we pray. Hallelujah. Oh yeah, we pray. Give him high praise. Oh yeah, we pray. Hallelujah. Oh yeah, we pray. Sing out, yeah. Oh yeah, we pray. Hallelujah. Oh yeah, we pray. Give him high praise. Oh yeah, we pray. Hallelujah. Oh yeah, we pray. Come on, praise him, somebody. Hey! Oh, come on, come on, come on. Hey, come on, you better give him praise. I don't know what you come here for, but you better give him praise while you can. Come on, somebody say, oh yeah, we praise you. Oh yeah, we praise you. Come on, praise me. Oh yeah, we praise. Come on. Oh yeah, we praise. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, we praise you. Oh yeah, we praise you. Oh yeah, we praise you. Hey! Oh yeah, we praise you. Hallelujah! Oh, hallelujah! It's done. Yeah. What I shall be, I already am. It's done. Hallelujah. God has worked it out on my behalf. My eyes may not see it, by faith I receive it. It will manifest. It's already done. Everybody say, it's done. What I shall be, what I shall be, I already am. It's done. God's gonna work it out. He will. God has worked it out on my behalf. My eyes may not see it. By faith I receive it. It will manifest. It will manifest. Already done. Everybody say, it's done. What I shall be, what I shall be, hey, already am. It's done. God's gonna work it out. He will work it out on my behalf. My eyes may not see, by faith I receive it. It will manifest. Already done. Everybody say, it's done. What I shall be, what I shall be, hey, already am. It's done. God's gonna work it out. He will work it out on my life. My eyes may not see, by faith I receive. My got to worship, worship in advance. Come on, if you believe it, come on, say it's done, 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 done. It's already done. It's done, done, done. It's already done. It's already done. It's done, done, done. It's already done. It's already. It's done, done. It's done. It's already done. It's already done. I say favor for my neighbor. I say favor for my neighbor. I say favor for my neighbor. I say favor. Hey, I believe it. I believe it. I believe it. I believe it. I receive it. I receive it. I receive it. Hey, I say power for this hour. I say power for this hour. I say power for this hour. I say power. I believe it. I believe it. I receive it. I receive it. I believe it. I believe it. I receive it. I receive. I say favor for my neighbor. 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 I say power for this hour. 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 It will manifest. It's already done. It will manifest. It will manifest. It's already today. But Judy wasn't here last week, and we were supposed to stay in Biloxi last night. But he insisted, he said, Mama, y'all got to come home, and y'all got to be at church, and y'all got to bring me and David. He was not going to have it no other way. So just for that little thing, I got so much to praise him for, because y'all didn't have to allow Darren and I the traveling mercies from Biloxi back to Baton and then here to the water. So my child to praise him one more time. Come on, Saints, praise him. I just wanna praise you forever, hey, and ever, and ever, for all you've done for me. Blessing and glory, and honor, they all belong to you. Thank you, Yahweh, for blessing me. Oh, let them praise. He said, praise him with the instrument. Oh, yeah. Hey. Oh, I need this to get through another work week. I need this. I need the praise. I need your love. I need your joy. I need your peace. I need your long suffering. I need your love this morning to get through my work week. Hey, yes. Somebody better praise him. Come on now. I just wanna praise you. Hallelujah. Forever and ever and ever. For all you've done for me. Blessings and glory and honor, they all belong. Blessings, blessings, blessings and glory and honor, they all belong. Blessings, blessings, blessings and glory and honor, they all belong. Blessings, blessings, blessings and glory. Why? Because he's worthy. One more time.
And we came to serve. We came to praise him. Hallelujah. Is he worthy? Is he worthy? Hallelujah. Can we say Shema again? Hallelujah. Bless his name. Shema. Oh yeah. Shema Israel. Yahweh Elohim Yahweh. Oh, Shema Israel. Yahweh Elohim Yahweh. I say Shema. Shema, 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 Shema here, Shema, Shema, yeah, Shema Israel, Yahweh, Elohim, Yahweh, hallelujah. We came to serve our Father. Hallelujah today. We came to serve him in spirit and in truth. The praises go up. The blessings come up. Yeah. Shema, Shema, Israel. Yahweh. Elohim, Yahweh. Hey, God. Oh, yes. Hallelujah this morning. Hallelujah. Thank you, Father. Hallelujah. All praises to Almighty God. He's the reason. He's our purpose. And we can never praise him enough. There is nothing we should do to give him what he deserves. We could never go overboard. We would still owe him. We would still owe him. Hallelujah this morning. Oh, Father, thank you. Thank you for the instruments this morning, Father. To be able to praise you with all the honor and the glory. Hallelujah. The praise isn't over for the day, but hallelujah. We press forward, hallelujah, with my Torah reading for this morning. Genesis chapter 12, hallelujah. We will recite together. Genesis chapter 12, hallelujah. Thank you, Father. One more day. And one more opportunity. You know, we don't all have to be here next week. You know that, huh? This could be it. It is not written in scripture that we will see any time other than this moment right now. This is our hour of praise. Enjoy it. And make sure Father knows, hallelujah, that you are thankful. Hallelujah. Praise him in advance. Hallelujah. It's worthy to praise
while you have a chance. Hallelujah. He does not owe us anything. He's actually going beyond what's necessary. As sinners, we have all come short of his glory. But he's chosen to spare our lives. We have a choice to make now. To say, Father, thank you while I still have a chance. Hallelujah. That's his name. Hallelujah. Genesis chapter 12, hallelujah. We shall recite that together. And the praise, hallelujah, shall continue. We bless his holy and high name, for his name alone is a high tower. Hallelujah. Blessed be his name, Genesis 12. And we recite together. Now Yah said unto Abram, get thee out of thy country, and from thy kindred, and from thy father's house, unto a land that I will show thee. And I will make of thee a great nation, and I will bless thee, and make thy name great, and thou shalt be a blessing. And I will bless them that bless thee, and curse him that curseth thee. And in thee shall all families of the earth be blessed. So Abram departed, as Yah had spoken unto him, and Lot went with him. And Abram was 75 years old when he departed out of Haran. And Abram took Sarai his wife, and Lot his brother's son, and all their substance that they had gathered, and the souls that they had gotten in Haran, and they went forth to go into the land of Canaan. And into the land of Canaan they came. And Abram passed through the land unto the place of Sichem, and on the plain of Moreh. And the Canaanite was then in the land. And Yah appeared unto Abram, and said, unto thy seed will I give this land. And there builded he an altar unto Yah, who appeared unto him. And he removed from thence unto a mountain on the east of Bethel, and pitched his tent, having Bethel on the west, and Hai on the east. And there he builded an altar unto Yah, and called upon the name of Yah. And Abram journeyed, going on still toward the south. And there was a famine in the land, and Abram went down into Egypt to sojourn there, for the famine was grievous in the land. And it came to pass, when he was come near to enter into Egypt, that he said unto Sarai his wife, behold, now I know thou art a fair woman to look upon. Therefore it shall come to pass, when the Egyptians shall see thee, that they shall say, this is his wife, and they will kill me, but they will save thee alive. Say, I pray thee, thou art my sister, that it may be well with me for thy sake, and my soul shall live because of thee. And it came to pass that when Abram was coming to Egypt, the Egyptians beheld the woman that she was very fair. The princess also of Pharaoh saw her, and commended her before Pharaoh, and the woman was taken into Pharaoh's house. And he entreated Abram well for her sake, and he had sheep and oxen and he-asses and men servants and maid servants and she-asses and camels. And Yah plagued Pharaoh and his house with great plagues because of Sarai, Abram's wife. And Pharaoh called Abram and said, what is this that thou hast done unto me? Why didst thou not tell me that she was thy wife? Why saidst thou, she is my sister? So I might have taken her to meet the wife. Now therefore, behold thy wife. Take her and go thy way. And Pharaoh commanded his men concerning him, and sent him away, and his wife, and all that he had. May Yah add a blessing to the reading of his word. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. We'll have our recitation of the Decalogue at this time. Hallelujah.
Shabbat shalom. Blessed art thou, Yah, thy Elohim, the King of the universe, who has sanctified us by his commandments and taught us to write his laws in our heart and our minds. And Elohim spake all these words, saying, I am Yah, thy Elohim, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other Elohim before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For I, Yah, thy Elohim, am a jealous El, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. Thou shalt not take the name of Yah, thy Elohim, in vain. For Yah would not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of Yah, thy Elohim. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days Yah made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore Yah blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. Honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which Yah thy Elohim giveth thee. Thou shalt not murder. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything that is thy neighbor's. According to James 2:10-12, for whosoever shall keep the whole law, and yet offend in one point, he is guilty of all. For he that said, do not commit adultery, said also, do not murder. Now if thou commit no adultery, yet if thou murder, thou art become a transgressor of the law. So speak ye, and so do, as they that shall be judged by the law of liberty. Hallelujah.
Just persevere to make it into wherever it is that they are worshiping today. All the assemblies near, wide, far, spread amongst this, and even all the countries amongst us. For there are many who are gathering knowing that today is your holy and righteous Shabbat. And may May you continue to keep all those who we encounter with on a daily basis to spread your glory, your good word, so that we may continue to increase the knowledge in your land, that it be pure and not with false attachment to it. May you continue to keep each and every one of us in this house. May you continue to guide us, strengthen our hearts, minds, bodies, and souls. Allow us the opportunity to continue to make it another week, that you may continue to allow us to keep good health, that we continue to walk your walk and to talk your talk. That you may keep my beloved cousin and his madam as they are in the hospital at this time. That you may allow safe delivery of Miss Melody. That you may continue to keep her. And even our beloved co-pastor's wife and her husband as they are in the waiting room, awaiting that miracle as it shall be. May you continue to allow us the opportunity to not stumble, to not fall, that you may allow us to have peace of mind knowing that we are yours, that we may not forget that there are young children who don't have places to be, that don't have food on their table, that don't have roofs over their head, that we may continue to feel that we were at our lowest, know that you are with us, because there are some who are much lower than us. Just like I say, Toda Ya, thank you for all the many blessings that you may continue to rain much love and shower us with many gifts upon this house, as well as all the other 7-day keepers assemblies that we congregate with. And as we soon reign in this new year with a be upon us, may you just allow us to opportunity to fulfill your law and to have your Torah kept in our hearts and in our walk each and every step of the way. In your holy and righteous name, you are Elohim, Yehoshua HaMashiach. Just like I say, hallelujah. Amen. And Shabbat Shalom.
All because of Yeshua, all because of Yeshua, all because all things, Father. For you have made everything possible for us, Father. There is nothing that we have without you, Father. Father, you've blessed us even though we don't deserve to be blessed, Father. Father, you love us in spite of ourselves, Father. In spite of our shortcomings. In spite of where we fall short, Father. So we just want to thank you, Father. Father, we want to thank you for your love, your grace, and your mercy, Father. For without it, we would be lost. We would be doomed, Father. Father, we ask that you would look down on the tithes and offerings that were collected today, Father, that they be used to glorify you and edify your way, Father. In the name of your darling Son, Yahushua HaMashiach. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
And we do thank the Father for all things. Hallelujah. Pray for that resumption of our Hebrew moment next week when that team is, when the Father says it's time for the team to be back in effect. Hallelujah. We bless his name. Our dear young Stephen Jr., very, very dutiful. We also got a madam, hallelujah, and Father's given him more. So we just thank him for all that he's done and doing and what they're going through, and we know Father's got that. So we say thank you. Father, we just thank you for all things, hallelujah. Sunset today, 7:13 in New Orleans, 7:17 in Baton Rouge. Sister Z, she's coming along. She misses us greatly. She misses us so much that she told Manny, could you pan the camera around every so often? She don't want to just see me, she don't want to just see Lana. She wants to see her family. Now I don't think we saw her moving her head around when she was up here, but you see, absence makes that heart grow fonder. And she misses her family, and we miss her. We miss you, Z. And Brother Charles, we know when the time is right, y'all will bring you all back into the forefront. And we miss Brother Peter and Sister Karen as well. And am I looking at that? I said, I think I see some hair back there. All right, Brother Pete. Good to see you back in the house again. Hallelujah. Like I said, is that the praise hair my dear brother coming through right now? Hallelujah. Bless his name. But that's just it. It's the Father has drawn us together. And we want to show that love and express that love. We thank everyone for that what you brought in for the Give It the food drive, just so we can continue to press forward and helping the needy. Next week will be my team, Team 4 for the meal. And we just say praise your Father. We thank the Father for the cleaning that went on last weekend. Thank you, Father, for just putting it on the minds and the hearts to just want to go ahead and to keep your house pure and holy. We thank him for the skating event last week. Hallelujah. You know, the youngsters was out there. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. There you go. One of those youngsters, those old youngsters. And it took me several days to recuperate from that, to recover from that race. Oh, believe me, stretching those legs like that. That's just, you know. But we thank the Father for the opportunity. We thank him for the fun. We thank him for the social time. Because saints, we aren't that boring. We aren't that, you know, just humdrum. There is no yoke around this neck. We can laugh. We can play. Young Michael will show you that he can leap with the best of them. And just, anticipating the ball coming, clearly. I think he said he was a target, though. So, hey, let's pray for him. Hallelujah. Watch the mind. A bead service is coming soon. Hallelujah. April 5th, so 2 weeks. Friday after next, we will gather that night, 7 p.m. for our Sabbath weekend service. And then we will follow up that Saturday afternoon with a feed out in the yard. So we'll be talking to a few of you all about the meal that we'll share and have ready for those who do come, for ourselves as well as for those who the Father will draw our way. Who knows what the Father is doing at this day and hour right now with us? Not with any individual, but with us collectively. And we need to be ready when he calls our collective corporate name. So it's good to do good. And let the Father then decide where it goes from there. So let's just plan to make a great moment of that. The following weekend, we'll have water baptism. The name of Yehoshua HaMashiach. Our dear Sister Josie will go down, and Pastor Greg and his group will be with us to join in and recognizing that wonderful day they've shared. And he'll also be going down with one of his members as well on that day. So we thank the Father, because once one moment goes forward, then you see what the Father draws unto it. So I have a feeling that that won't be the only two persons when the time comes. But we say, Father, whomever, just have your way, because salvation is personal and it isn't disguised. Repent, be baptized, and receive the Holy Spirit. Got to start with the word repentance. And you got to make sure that that part is covered to the full. Then you go on to the action. But we got to confess our sins, not the ones that we've done, but then we got to say, I'm turning my back to that sinful way. Got to live a repentant life. And then the actions mean more than just going through the motions. And then he says, and I will pour out my spirit upon you. Hallelujah. Isn't it something to know if the Father would pour out his spirit? He's all in all, omnipotent. And he can pour out his spirit on you to be able to do great things and be great thyself. So we say hallelujah. We'll have our ordination of Bead night, as mentioned, for young Stephen. Hallelujah. We'll have our Council of Elders meeting that Sabbath morning, April 6th. And we shall be codifying our bylaws to address our membership in an official manner, as well as our refuge property and how we will go forward with engaging that. Annual consecration period, Sunday evening, April the 14th. It begins and it goes through that week until Pesach, our service. So from Sunday evening, April the 14th, until Friday evening when we begin in service. That is our consecration period. So we're beginning with the selection day of the Lamb. Hallelujah. The Passover season will start, and we will be in step with it. By not partaking of vegan, vegetarian, by not partaking, we'll be connecting ourselves to the period at hand. Asking the Father to keep us connected all the way through. But the challenge is, we don't need to stop there. The period is your choice. It's set there in stone for you to engage, but what you do and what you gain, that's on you. I told myself that during that period, there'll be no television. I can hear the news on the radio, I can hear the news on my phone, but there'll be no television. Other than being out in the woods, I've never done that at home intentionally. The knowledge of good and evil is not a great thing. And when that television is on, there's a knowledge of evil that is overwhelming. It can stunt your growth. It can just redirect you. It can be a snare. It can just bring down the grace. But Father, this is your time. And I choose more and more and more. Last year I didn't choose that. But you see, I want to be different this year. I want to continue to say, Father, choose me. So again, do something during that period. But make sure that the Father knows that he's on your mind. And the more you choose, the more you receive. So that's just what, let it be just a minimum of what you put in. But how about what you have your mind focused on? What are we supposed to be? A set apart people. And a set apart people are not, we're in this world, but we don't have to be of it. That's the choice. We want to choose more and more and more. Passover, April 19th, Friday night, 7 p.m. Colors, blue and white. For the season, 7 days of commanded worship. So that's Friday evening, 7 p.m. and 7 p.m. every night. Saturday night, Sunday night, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Service will be from 7 to 8:30. That's Saturday through Wednesday. And we'll have a small meal to follow. And then we'll have our final 7th-day service, the day portion of the 7th day, which will be Friday morning. So we won't meet on that Thursday night, but we'll come back for the morning of the 7th day and meet that Friday morning for our final service for the 7th day of the Feast of Unleavened Bread. No leaven beginning April 19th in all your coast, in all your dwellings. So not just your pantries, but not just your work area, not in your car. If it's your area, if Father has given you control over such an area, that's an area that you want to be diligent to say, Father, I'm giving you the honor and the glory over this which is mine. So we want to be mindful and watch out for the leaven and the yeast, the baking soda and the baking powder and all those rising agents, because we want to remove that which puffs up. But always remember, if we don't start off with what puffs us up inside, those physical things will not gain us any of Yah's glory. So we want to make sure that we empty out our own cupboards first. The cupboards of our mind, the cupboards of our heart. Hallelujah. We bless his name, and there is already having at home a gift of a box of unleavened bread to all the membership families. That's already coming as our tradition, and then we thank the Father for how the season will unfold. May 4th, first Sabbath in May, we'll go out to the refuge. Elder Gray, his family will join us out there, and we're looking for a good time, so just plan on that being our next time, making it out there to Tylertown. And then third Sabbath in May, May 18th, we'll have our dance performance. And the theme will be a place of worship. And Pastor Greg and group will be back with us. He'll bring a word for us that afternoon, and we'll have, I'm sure, a couple other visitors in the house. So we bless his name, and we're looking right now at another color theme for the day. Still in line, always with the colors of Yah's tabernacle. Blessed be his holy name. Just a couple of points for the times that we're in. Our young people. The word says, woe unto that untoward generation. Doesn't have to just be the young, but it could just be the young in mind. And so that's just something to think about at this time period that we're in, because you get the young people riled up and you got rebellion. I mean, you have just, there's no regard. When the young people choose to just cross over that little bit, we don't have any control. All we have is the Father to keep them in check. One city, I didn't write it down, but the police were frightened as they were attempting to address some youths who were getting out of control. They cursed the police. They taunted the police. The police called more police. And the youngsters did not back down, so several ended up being arrested. And again, if you've worked in the school system, if you've dealt with our young people right up close, hallelujah, you need the Father on your side, because if a person has no self-restraint, then clearly you should have no expectation that anything you say will be adhered to, and not only not adhered to, that rebellion won't come your way. So we thank the Father for his mercy. On that note, and I told Dayton I'd mess with him the other week, I'm going to do it today, as he took his nice trip away. Dayton, about 16, nice young man, 16, he's smiling, so we good so far, all right, 16, and he kind of went away far away and left a few things behind, kind of misplaced, jacket, wallet, phone, camera, everything he had, literally. He just forgot everything like but my point then is that our leader of our House of Representatives says she's always felt that 16 should be the age that we let our people vote. She says it's always how she's felt, is that 16 years old should be the age that we let our youngsters vote. So what you're saying, because I'm gonna have to read between the lines on that, because it can't be because they just really got that mind that's just really keeping up with stuff, and because that was their open, that's how I led it into it. I mean, clearly it can't be because of their maturity factor. So what is it that you must have an angle. There must be an angle on wanting to profess that you believe that the voting age should drop to 16, because it can't be because of their wisdom. We were all 16 once with them, so we know that, hey, this is just your time. So that's the world we're in, though. But I do remember that our past president, as during many of his campaign moments, he said, look, in the colleges where he would be campaigning, you all got to go home and change your parents' minds. That was much of that was go home and change your parents' minds to move from that old way of looking at things. Because it would be thought of older people more conservative, younger people more open-minded. That's the world we're in today. College right now, they say that 41% of all college students who enroll don't graduate. But yet the average college tuition is about $30,000 and go up. So they're all incurring some level of expense, and then they get sidelined with the expense. Over $2 trillion unpaid debt. Somebody says the biggest racket in the United States is that dream that says you got to go to college. Because nobody's making that college seem to be in your reach. It's just the biggest thing is you got to go and get you a huge bill right out of high school. And then you're in the world of bills and owing people for the rest of your life. Because how many people keep that bill? I still got mine. How many people keep that bill for a long, many, a lot of decades to follow? But yet somebody says that that's a great thing. That's the right thing. And it doesn't mean that it can't be beneficial. But this money thing, that's just the back end of a bad deal. So Father, we say have mercy on our young people and those who are still moving in that direction, because there is good. But the knowledge of good and evil benefits none of us. And then my point here, 436 people are the number of immigrants that have been averaged to be arrested each day over the last year. 436 a day over a year. That's just this one snapshot. 159,000 people. Now, somebody might say there's an emergency going on at the border that needs to be addressed. That's a way of just looking at it. 436 people a day crossing over. All with their different perspectives, and that's all fine, and looking for something better. But because we don't see this, that's not real to us. That's just a number, and it'll be forgotten, if not already forgotten right now. But if the border was right over there, down the street and across the way, I'm sure that story would matter to us a whole lot more. And that's the perspective, because if you don't know when the border, those situations do happen, it's a matter of coming in, you get addressed, and then there has to be a process in most cases. And for that process, then there's a bus ride that takes and just drops off those individuals in your city and my city. Because there is nowhere to go when you're talking about that many people every day, they have to be dispersed around the nation just to be able to keep it not seeming like there really is a problem down at the border. You move the problem away from the border and disperse it amongst the 300 plus million. And then that 159,000 is just a vapor. Again, there has to be some science to it, or otherwise it would be getting pretty clogged down there if, the next person trying to get in and squeeze in, or the next person, if that's the way it is, unless you have a process that's actually working to make it actually not seem like what might be considered an emergency to somebody else. And the last point is, this is the period, I guess it is, because I don't exactly keep up with it to the date, but Purim, the Feast of Purim, for those of Judaism, they are engaging it in and about this time, and they were thankful for a gift during their Purim season. Because President Trump recognized the Golan Heights officially as the land of Israel. It's been practically already as such, but that's not a statement that comes from the White House. Not to just say it officially is this people's land. He's made some moves that not even close for president after president after president after president. They have hinted at things in campaigns. He's actually made some actions come to pass during this time. So Father raises up leaders and sets them down to do according to his will what he chooses to be done. And he has chosen that this will be done at this time. What does that mean? All I can say is when the fig tree, when the leaves on the tree become tender, he says, look up. You can't look up until the fig tree has actually been rooted and then begin to wither. So I tell you that for thousands of years, hundreds of years, some things just couldn't happen. But I tell you right now, there are things in place that can happen. And somebody is actually standing at the door saying, it's all right now to let the rest of end time prophecy unfold. We take it for Father. You say, watch and pray. Have mercy upon us. It's a great day for praise, Sister Lamb. Hallelujah. Let's give the Father a hand clap. Hallelujah. Isn't it something where you can come in and be excited? And just, I'm glad you made them come, son. If that's what it takes, hallelujah. Do your portion, hallelujah. See, you don't like it when you get in a shower and you're dressing directly, but that's all right, though, because that means he has understanding. And may the Father continue to let his Spirit keep him. Maybe that'll keep him here, hallelujah.
Hallelujah. All praise to Father Yah. So today is the fourth Sabbath. This time is set aside for the Commandment Keepers Choir, which is everybody amongst the assembly. From the babe to the oldest person assembled. So we're going to be brief today. We're going to bring forth our elder Lemoyne Rain. Good to see you, Lisa. With Yeshua Reigns following. Hang on. Our own sister Yolanda Marion. How you doing, John? Jen? And lastly, Dayton's going to close it out with You Bless Me. So let's come on, saints. Come on up here. Let's give Yah continued praise. For he's worthy to be praised. Now, Stephen Jr. did call me to let me know that he was not going to be here. Now, y'all know we do not do Hang On without Stephen Jr. But I was told there's a ram in the bush. Now, we're going to see if that ram is going to hold up to Stephen Jr.'s standards. Hallelujah. No one can kill it. No one can control it. Because he reigns. He reigns. No one can beat him.
No one can beat him.
No one can kill him.
No one can kill him.
No one can dethrone.
No one can dethrone.
Because he reigns.
He reigns. He reigns.
No one can beat him.
No one can beat him.
No one can kill him.
No one can kill him.
No one can dethrone.
No one can dethrone.
Because he reigns.
He reigns. He reigns.
No one can beat him.
No one can beat him.
No one can kill him.
No one can kill him.
No one can dethrone.
No one can dethrone.
Because he reigns.
He reigns. He reigns.
Yeshua 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 reigns.
No one can beat him.
No one can beat him.
No one can kill him.
No one can kill him.
No one can dethrone.
No one can dethrone him.
He reigns.
He reigns. He reigns.
No one can beat him.
No one can kill him.
No one can kill him.
No one can kill him.
No one can dethrone.
No one can dethrone him.
Because he reigns.
He reigns. He reigns.
No one can beat him.
No one can beat him.
No one can kill him.
No one can kill him.
No one can dethrone.
No one can dethrone
Because
him.
he reigns.
He reigns. He reigns. He reigns.
Yeshua 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 reigns. Yeshua reigns.
Yeshua reigns.
Yeshua reigns.
Yeshua reigns.
Yeshua reigns.
Yeshua reigns.
Yeshua reigns. Yeshua reigns. Y'all need to help me out with this. I lost all my voice on Shema. Woo! Your How you gonna smile when it feels what you gonna do when you think afraid? Just a little girl. How you gonna smile when it's time to give this face? You gotta hang on. Just grab on to something and hold on. Yeah!
thank Almighty Yah for bringing young Melody into the world. Hallelujah.
He opens doors. Thank you, Yah. Thank you, Yah.
Father, we can't say thank you enough. Torah,
Praise you, Yah. Oh, praise you,
praise you. Hallelujah, Father. Praise you, Yah. Praise you. As we bring up our dear brother, Minister Lamar, last evening when I'm just speaking with Paige and Annie before, and Deanna, before leaving the hospital, you know, the temple was light and everybody upbeat and, you know, positive in our actions. And then we chanted a song and we prayed, and you could feel that there's something over the room of just, it's test time. See, we could talk faith all we want. We can preach faith, we can read faith, but you gotta walk in faith when the time comes, in order for all of that faith to be real. Some love it with their lips, but we have to know we gotta go through the fire in order for he to know that our living Father. Thank you for the words, the love, the encouragement. Thank you for the addition that he's added to this Bible. Listen, at this hour, he has chosen to add one more to this house, and we say thank you for it. Hallelujah. Help us to be the stewards you would have us to be. With young Melody Andrews, hallelujah. Help us to continue to nurture and guide the parents, to support the grandparents, and to be the loving nature that we are one to another. Father, you add us from the least to the greatest. We're glad to have you, Brother Brian and Sister Sabrina today. We just thank you, Father, for whatever you're choosing to do at this hour on your calendar. Help us to be worthy. He is added. Now it's our portion to be worthy, to be the examples that we have been charged to be, not for ourselves, but to help somebody else along the way. In Yeshua's name, we say hallelujah. Let's receive our dear brother, Minister Lamar Wayne. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Praise his name, right? He woke us all up today and started us all out on our way, right? You know, we take that for granted many days, but there are many that didn't wake up this morning. There are many that laid down last night and they didn't open their eyes up today. And you know, the thing about it is they didn't know. Because they didn't get the memo, right? The Father didn't send them a memo and say, look, tonight is it for you. Because he don't send memos to us. That's why we got to do all we can while the breath flows through our bodies. Hallelujah! The pastor said earlier, he said, you don't know if you're going to be here next week. You don't know if you're going to be here tonight. Or in the next hour. It comes just that quick. How many stories have you heard family members went away just like that? And you may have thought they were healthy and good health. But you got that word that all of a sudden it was all over. We get one chance, y'all. This life that you're living is your chance. It's your opportunity to get close, to get it right. Every day that you get is another chance to get it right. If you didn't get it right yesterday, he woke you up today and you got another chance to do it. Praise God for that. Because you know what? If one of us was in charge and had played the role he played, many of us would never wake up, right? We'll never wake up because we don't have that kind of love, right? We don't have that kind of patience. Because if we had somebody that was looking up to us and they went on day after day making mistakes, doing the same thing, we get to the point where we say, you know what, that's it. That's it. But praise the Father that he does not wish to see any perish. That he wants everyone, all, to make it into the kingdom. To be able to sit on that throne as joint heirs with our brother Yahushua HaMashiach. To serve with him. You know, he came and we coming up on this special time, these holy days. He came and he showed us how to navigate this life. Now, he was perfect. We know that we're not perfect, but it's what we should be striving for. Should be our goal. We should be, every day we should get stronger and stronger. Right? We should get away from what we've done. And of course, this song is just one that I love, and so I get Sister Lamb to come up. Our favorite song of the house, and I think it's appropriate for the season that we're coming into, because all our focus now should be upon him, should be upon that which he did. You know, some years ago, my brother Stephen had a message, he had a theme there. He said, did he pay a price too high? I'm paraphrasing it, but was the price he paid too high? You know, I know that he don't believe that it wasn't too high. He did it for a purpose, and he did it because it was the will of his Father that he did it. Because I don't know if many understand, he could have turned away from it. He could have rejected it. He could have walked away. He could have took that burden right off of him. But he did the Father's will anyway. That's where we got to get, y'all. We got to get to the point that we do the Father's will at all costs. No matter what the price is. We got to go stronger and stronger every day. Hallelujah. That's where, especially at this time of year leading into the season, we should be focused on exalting Him. On doing things being obedient unto Him, following the example which He has set forward for us. I don't know, some of you from New Orleans may have heard the news recently. I think it was early this week. I mean, many of you know that I work as a juvenile probation officer, and so I deal with a lot of young people that are on a daily basis, a lot of troubled young people. We in trouble, y'all.
Oh, come on, Mom.
We in trouble. You just don't know. If you're not in this system, Sister Tyra works in another capacity, but we both serve the youth of this community. And they are lost. They are truly lost. You know, I remember when I was growing up, sometimes I was hoping I didn't have parents, that I could do whatever I wanted to do. Because the parents were always there to get in the way and stop you and get you back on track. You know, when you have a young mind, you think that's a bad thing. You think that's a terrible thing. Because you just can't do what you want to do. Well, I'm here to tell you that today, many of these youth don't have parents that tell them anything.
Tell the truth. Tell the truth.
They are doing what they want to do.
Yes, they are.
They're living according to the way they choose to live.
They are.
Some of the children run the houses.
Oh.
I have parents calling me up reporting stuff and telling me, but don't tell them I told you. So they're afraid. They're afraid. They're telling me the things the child is doing, but don't want me to mention that I got it from them.
Nah, tell the
I don't
truth.
understand that.
Shame the devil. Tell
But
the truth.
earlier this week, there were 2 young men who were involved in a high-speed chase here in the city with the police in a stolen car. And that car ended up crashing into a beauty salon, I think it was. And the car burst into flames. And the 2 young men were done away. And there was another person inside the beauty salon, a patron, who was injured and burned, and she went to the hospital, but a couple of days she succumbed too. She succumbed too.
Yes, Lord. Keep it real.
And it's just a sad situation. You know, am I my brother's keeper? We gotta be. We gotta be. My wife would tell you years ago when I worked in the school system, you know, and it would be scary sometimes, you know, the kids before Katrina, when they had all the different war thing going on here, they would fight a lot. And they try to hurt and kill each other. And I worked in security with the school system, and so even when I was off, if I was riding around and I saw some kids involved in something, I probably would pull over and get out and try to say something to them. But the problem with that was back then, these kids would take you out in a minute.
Yes, they would. Sure.
You know, they didn't value life. They didn't value their own life. And a person who doesn't value his life is a dangerous person. Because why would you think that he has any value on your life if they don't value their own life? And when I would talk to these kids, a lot of them would tell me that they didn't think that they were going to make it to 18 years old. And I was working at a middle school at the time, 6th, 7th, 8th grade. And they would tell me, look, I'm going to do what I can do now because I don't think I'm going to make it to 18.
Come on.
I'm going to die before I make 18 years old. That was their hope. That was their hope in life. It really was hopelessness, not hope at all. But that's what they were getting out of this life. You know, part of it was because they didn't have what we had. Their parents didn't have what we have to show them the way. But you know what? Right now, we all have an opportunity when we come across young people. We can witness to them. We can tell them the right thing. Now, understand, they might not listen to you. I appreciate Sister Shirley because, you know, she brings children in. She's in her neighborhood. She's fighting this fight actively. She's out there trying to make a difference with them, trying to change lives. But, you know, that shouldn't just be her job. That shouldn't just be her job. That's what we all should do at any chance we get because it's about the future. You think you have a future? Look at the children. Look at the children. Also, I don't know if Sister Andrews and Mike, y'all might know this, but one of the boys who died, his name is Byron Wilson, and his grandmother was June Wilson. She worked with your brother Dana at the Methodist. I don't know if you know her, but she worked at the Methodist home where Dana was working. And it was her grandson, and he just got out of jail. It was week before last, they let him out. The following week, after he was out 2 days, she came to the office. This kid wasn't on my caseload, but his PO and her supervisor weren't there, so I went out to speak to her to see what she wanted. And she was pleading and begging us to put him back in jail.
My.
She was like, listen, this isn't working. He's not listening to me at all. He's going and coming as he wants to, and I'm afraid that something bad is going to happen to him.
My God.
But you know, the governmental systems, it's not like that.
Come on.
So we approached the court about the issues this young man was having. And of course, they set a court date, but the court date was set out weeks later. And as you can see, the young man didn't make it to that court date. He didn't make it to that. That's why we can't depend on any man or any man's system for anything. If you put your faith in the system of man, you're already lost. You're already destroyed. Because he can't keep his own promises. Look at the politicians, they make all sorts of promises and they never keep them. The other thing, as Pastor was talking about President Trump. Now we look at President Trump, and he does a lot of things, y'all. I mean, that's kind of crazy, that's kind of weird to most people. I mean, you've never had a president before, like, tweeting out stuff 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. Responding to what people say about him and that kind of thing. Like he can't take it. But, the Father uses whomever he chooses to use for his purpose. We don't have to understand. We don't have to be in agreement with it. And we don't have to accept it. Because whether we accept it or not, his will is going to be done through whoever he chooses. And I think I read somewhere in the Word that he used a donkey, y'all. A jackass. He used a jackass to deliver his word. So if he can do that, he can use anyone. No matter how they appear to you or me, he can use it. And we know that the Father's at work, and there's evidence by also what the pastor said about his actions toward Israel. Remember, you read the scriptures all the time. The word says, I will bless those that bless Israel, and I will curse those that curse Israel. And this man, for whatever reason, and I know the reason is because of Yah, he's blessing Israel. I also started reading another story where it says he supports Netanyahu, who is the leader of Israel. The former president was running him away. Wouldn't even see the man when he came to the White House. He wouldn't have anything to do with him. So we just got to look past his actions, the crazy stuff. We just got to look right past it and know, based upon what he is doing, even if it's the smaller part of what he's doing, that Yah is in there. And that's the only way you're going to find some peace in it. Otherwise, you're going to be running around like a lot of these other people. They spend all their time talking about it, trying to get rid of it. And it's not going to happen. Let us turn, and what we're going to do today, we're coming up on Passover, so we're just going to talk a little bit today. We're going to try to get our minds right, because it's springtime. It's time for house cleaning.
Come on,
you clean your house, right? Springtime is the time people do their spring cleaning at home. Well, now it's time to do some spiritual spring cleaning. To clean out your spirit from those things. Because see, we're going to be reminded that he shed his blood for us again. That we might have right to the tree of life. And that we might enter into the gates which lead us into the kingdom. So it's time to purify. I remember at this time last year I was surrendering, And that's what we still got to be doing, surrendering. I think back on that, and we should still be surrendering. Until we make our change, you always are going to have something that you need to surrender unto. Because as long as we have these carnal bodies, as long as we have carnal minds, there are going to be things that are going to get in our way. And we're going to need to surrender. Let's look at John, the book of John, chapter 10. And I'm just hoping these scriptures that we come across today will just cause you to think. And cause you to get busy with your spring cleaning. John chapter 10, starting at verse 1. And, I read from the Ryrie Study Bible, so mine reads a bit different, but it says the same thing. And it reads, Truly, truly, I say to you, he who does not enter by the door into the fold of the sheep, but climbs up some other way, he is a thief and a robber. But he who enters by the door is a shepherd of the sheep. To him the doorkeeper opens, and the sheep hear his voice. And he calls upon his own sheep by name, and he leads them. Now we know that this scripture is speaking about our brother, Yahushua HaMashiach. He's the one that entered by the door. There were many who, even today, they're trying to climb over the wall because they're trying to circumvent Yah's truth. They don't want to preach or teach Yah's truth, so they're trying to get in another way. They don't try to get in his way. They try to tell you that the first day of the week is the day that you should be observing Yah. I say, and I agree with, because many will say that we should focus on him every day, and that's the truth. But in his word, he set forth a specific day, a particular day. He felt the need to spell it out for us in his word. He didn't spell out anything about any of these other days. It's just as he did with the months. He took the time out to name one of them. Just one of them. It's us who got to name everything else. Right now we're stuck with months that the Romans gave us.
That's right.
Names, and we're observing times at the wrong time because of the Romans. When he puts forth all his own, he goes before them, and the sheep follow him because they know his voice. You see, we can follow him because we studied his word and we know his voice. And we know that he's doing the will of the Father and he's speaking unto us. A stranger they simply will not follow, but will flee from him because they do not know the voice of strangers. And you see, we got to be at that point where we don't follow with strangers, you know, where we don't have itching ears, where we don't follow all kind of strange doctrines that people put in front of us.
Yes.
That you can't be discouraged from the right way, that you can't be turned from the truth. You got to stand upon it. Because if you're doing what you need to do, if you're studying that word every day, daily, renewing your mind, then you will know his voice as he speaks through his word. This figure of speech, Yahushua spoke to them, but they did not understand what those things were, which he had been trying to say to them. So Yahushua said to them again, truly, truly, I say to you, I am the door of the sheep. I'm the door of the sheep. It's through me that you're going to come in. All who came before me were thieves and robbers, but the sheep did not hear them. And see, we're talking about his sheep, because remember at some point, he's going to separate the sheep and the goats. It's going to be a separation of the sheep and the goats. You really got to think about where you want to be. You want to be a sheep, or you want to be a goat? Because I don't think that the outcome of the goats is going to be the one that you want. No. The one that you're looking for. He said, I am the door. If anyone enters through me, he shall be saved. And he will go in and out and find pasture. So enter through him, and you're going to gain all that you need. The thief comes only to steal and to kill and destroy. That's the evil one in his ministers. Because see, he has his own set of ministers as well. They're out there running around right now teaching everybody to do the wrong thing, to observe the wrong things. You know, the crazy thing with the ministers are many of them, they know the same truth that we know because they've studied. They've studied the word. Maybe the people that they minister to haven't studied the word to the level that they have, but many of them have gone through seminaries where they actually studied the word. And they know about the Sabbath. They know about the holy days. They know what they are, but they'd rather hold on to the holidays instead of the holy days. Because those holidays cater unto them in their way. Those holidays are not even in the picture when it comes to our Father Yahweh. I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd. And the good shepherd lays down his life for the sheep. And we see that's what he has done. He laid down his life for the sheep, for us.
Thank you.
You're the sheep.
Thank you.
He laid down his life for you. See, you got to think about that. Think about what he did, y'all. What he did. He died.
Right.
You know, how many of us would die for anything? For anybody. We might die for our wife, or it's possible, right?
Yeah.
Right? We might die for our mother, our father, right? But the thing of it is, the reason why I'm saying it's possible because you might say, I died, you know, but you don't know that until it's upon you. When you're in that moment, you know, we can say whatever we want, you know, but action speaks louder than words is what people say. It's like the brother talked about the sister talked about last week. When Yeshua approached Peter and said, you know, before the cock crows, you're going to deny me. What did Peter say? Never. No, I won't. And he meant it. Peter meant that at that moment. At that moment, he meant it. In his heart, he felt it. He meant it. But when the rubber hit the road, he forgot about that, right? He forgot about that. So words, we can say many things with words. But it's what you're going to do when the time comes.
That's right.
It's like in the future when persecution starts for the church. Come on. Are you still going to stand on what you believe? Or are you going to be like Peter saying, I don't know those people. I don't believe them. I don't follow them. Or are you going to stand up and still profess Yahushua, HaMashiach, and still profess that the Sabbath is the seventh day? So y'all, we don't know what we're going to do. But you know, the Father, in his wisdom, he has set some to be martyrs. To be martyrs. So there are some that's going to stand strong, that's going to stand firm. I can't tell you who they are, whether it's me, whether it's you, but the Father knows. He's already set them. They're in place. They're ready. They're ready to do their job. But many of us are not strong enough for that. And you know the blessed thing with the Father is? He knows.
Yes,
He
God.
knows who's strong enough. See, we always say he's not going to put more on you than you can handle.
That's right.
See, if that job is too hard for you, he's not going to give you that job.
Hallelujah.
He preparing those for that job that he knows where their heart is. He knows the ones that can stand in the time of trouble.
Hallelujah.
Because many are going to faint in the time of trouble.
Yes.
And he knows that too.
Yes.
Many on this path, many on this road, are going to hide.
Yes.
Are going to hide. Because you know why? Because when that time comes, even your family members are going to be against you.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's going to be self-preservation, right? You know, the word says it's going to be son against father, daughter against mother. This is what it's talking about. It's going to be self-preservation.
Yeah.
They're going to save themselves by giving you up. And if they get questioned, well, no, but my son, unfortunately, he on that path. Or my brother, or my daddy, they're going to give you up.
Yes.
Get ready. That's why, you know what, that's what we're trying to prepare for now. That's why as we approach this holy season, we gotta grow every time. We gotta grow every time. We gotta be better than we was last Passover.
Yes.
Last peace out. We gotta be better. We gotta come out of it stronger than last time.
Yes.
Because also we don't know when we're gonna get another one of those. We don't know when that's gonna be it. When it's gonna be time. When you didn't take advantage of the opportunity you have to get it right now during this time.
Yes.
To accept that blood and to wash your heart. And to let it wash your heart and your mind and cleanse you. So that you come out as white as snow.
Yeah.
So that you can stand. Because if you come out as white as snow, he's with you.
Yes.
He's right there with you.
Thank you.
He who is the hired hand and not a shepherd,
Right.
who is not the owner of the sheep, sees the wolf coming and leaves the sheep and flees. Right?
Yeah.
That's what we just talking about. You know, you see the wolf coming, but you're like, all right, sheep, y'all in trouble. I'm out of here. Do what you do. I'll be back to see what's left over. Right? We'll be back when the wolf is gone. And the wolf snatches them and scatters them. We don't want to be snatched, y'all. We don't want to be scattered, right?
No.
You don't want the wolf to come in and get you. But see, if you're doing things the right way and you are Yah's, the wolf's not coming after you.
Hallelujah.
Because you're protected. You're covered in the blood. And the wolf sees it. You know, the wolf is just an analogy of that evil one.
Yeah.
Seeking to take you down, seeking to destroy your life. He wants to take you completely out.
Yes.
He wants to separate you from the love of Yah.
Yes, he does.
And he does everything in his power to do so.
Yeah.
The main way he does it is he uses our circumstances against us.
Yes, he does.
See, when you're being tested and you're having troubles, that's when he's going to be there present. Because see, he knows that it's unclear whether you're going to make it through the testing or not.
Yeah.
Whether you're strong enough to make it. Now, you know, the Father, if you turn to the Father and let him lead and guide you, you're going to come through.
Yeah.
You're going to come through, but sometimes in our weakness, we don't do that. Sometimes in our weakness, we try to do it ourselves. We turn away because we don't want to be patient. We don't want to wait on him. We sing that song, waiting on Yahweh. But sometimes we just don't want to wait. Because waiting is too long for our carnal mind. Because while we're waiting, things are falling apart. And we want to fix them.
Yes.
We want to fix them. But sometimes the Father wants it all to fall apart. He wants it all to fall apart because what's falling apart is all that's wrong.
Yes.
It's all that's wrong with you.
Hallelujah.
He's trying to take it away from you, let it fall apart so that you can start new, so that you can be renewed.
Hallelujah.
Take those things away from you. Because otherwise you're stuck in the same rut you've been stuck in forever.
Yes.
It's like being in quicksand.
Hallelujah.
You know, when you're in quicksand, you're not going anywhere, but down.
But that's right.
But down. And the more you struggle, the more you fight, the faster you go down.
Yeah.
The faster you go down. See, if you just keep still, unless you give somebody some time to come and save you, give salvation some time. If you keep still, and he might be there just in time to get you because you're gonna have time. You're not gonna sink as fast.
Right on. Hallelujah.
You're not gonna sink as fast. He flees because he is a hired hand and is not concerned about the sheep. So you don't care about the sheep. I am the good shepherd, and I know my own, and my own know me. He knows my name, right? Sing this song all the time. He knows my name. See, if he knows you, he knows you. He is. And that's just what I was just saying. If he knows you and he is, he's not going to let no harm come to you. You might go through something. Think of Job. Job went through something. Job went through something, right? But he didn't let it go.
No.
Never.
He restored all to him. He restored all to him. In the midst of that battle. I'm sure, Job in his corner mind at first was like, why? I'm doing everything. I pray for the children, those evil children I have that's out partying all the time. I'm down on my knees constantly for them.
Yes.
Now you've taken not only them away from me, but everything that I had.
Yes.
And it wasn't me. But it was Yah saying, okay, I know my servant Job, he can withstand this. If he just stays the course. If he stays the course and he stays the way, he stays on me, he's going to make it through this. No matter what happened to him. Because see, no suffering, no pain, no boil, none of that is worth the glory that's going to come later. None of it is. It's not worth it, right? Whatever you go through that's bad, it's not worth losing your salvation. Because if you think you live a bad life here on this planet Earth, but if you do things right, you will live a good spiritual life.
Yes.
See, because this world is not being run by, it's not being orchestrated by the Father, Yahushua HaMashiach right now. It's being done by the evil one. And the reason why he tries to attempt to bring these things on you because he's trying to get you to turn.
Yes, he is.
He's trying to get you to turn. Like I said, through your circumstances. See if you can make your circumstances so bad, maybe even the strongest soul, turn away.
Yes.
Yes.
But you can't. It's okay. You can get weak and waver, but you got to come back.
Yes.
As soon as you see that wavering, you got to call upon the name and come back. Because honestly, you know when you're wavering, right? You know when you're wavering. You see it.
Yes.
But what you got to do is correct it, not continue to waver, not continue to go the wrong way. You got to fix it. And how do you fix it? By falling down on your knees and turning it over to him, saying, I surrender all unto you. I surrender this trouble, this trial, whatever I'm going through, Father, I surrender it to you. Because I know only you can lead me out. Only you can lead me out. Even as the Father knows me, and I know the Father, I lay down my life for the sheep. See, he already did the work, y'all.
Yes.
He did the hard part for us.
Yes.
I know we think what we're doing right now is hard, but he died. He gave it up.
Yes.
He was tortured.
Yes.
This is referred to as the supreme sacrifice for a reason. Because if some of you still don't know, he was part of an Elohim. So in other words, to make it clear to you, God himself, a part of him, came and walked as a man.
Yes.
And allowed himself to be killed by men, by mere mortal men.
Yes.
Because he had to, right? Because the first Adam, as the word says, he screwed it up, messed it up. The brother taught that a couple of weeks ago. I think. The first Adam, he went awry. He did it the wrong way.
Yeah.
So because he loved it so much, he sent a second Adam. See, the first Adam was carnal. Was a carnal man.
Yeah.
And I know the Father knew from the beginning that in his carnality, he was never going to get it done.
No.
Wow.
He was never going to get it done. He knew. See, the Father's nothing is new to him.
Right.
It wasn't a surprise when Adam did what he did. He wasn't shocked. We are shocked by things. But the Father isn't shocked. What we say? If you believe it, he already sees the end from the beginning. He sees the whole picture. He sees each and every one of our whole lives already.
Yes, he had.
We still here. The life's not over. But he already seen it to your end.
Right.
And he knows what your outcome is going to be. He knows. You don't know. You think you know. You hope you know. But you don't know. But he does know.
Yes.
He does know. I have other sheep which are not of this fold. And see, that's comfort about family and other people you know. See, they got other sheep out there.
Yeah.
But they're not of this fold, and it's not time for them yet. It's not time for them to come in yet. He says, I must bring them also. And he says that they will hear his voice, and they will become one flock with one shepherd. So they're going to come in. Those whom he is called. Because we can't do anything about those who he's not called.
Yeah.
Those who are not predestined to be a part.
Right.
We can't change that, y'all. Even if it's loved ones, we can't change it.
Yeah.
For this reason, the Father loves me, because I lay down my life so that I may take it again.
Yes.
He gave up his life so that he can live again. And that's what we're doing we gave up our carnal lives in baptism, as the pastor speaking about. That's an example of dying, putting the carnal man into that watery grave, right?
Yes.
Carnal man lays down in the watery grave, and the spiritual creature rises alive again, renewed with life, renewed of mind. That's the example. No one has taken it away from me. Listen. But that's right, sister. No one has taken it away from me, but I lay it down on my own initiative. I have authority to lay it down, and I have authority to take it up again. This is the commandment I received from my Father. So see, that's what it is. Father said, I need you to do this, son. And you know, the word is, and I'm going to cover the scripture in a minute, but Yah is so good to us in his word because he shows us these things. He shows them to us even before it happened, because I'm going to get to it, but just think about Abraham, and Isaac.
Yeah.
See, he asked Abraham to do what he was going to do.
Yes.
He said, listen, I need you to take that boy, I need you to take him up there, and I need you to sacrifice him to me. I need you to do it. And you know, he was pleased with Abraham because of his reaction, but at the same time, that was an act of love. And Abraham did it carnally, but he did it spiritually. Abraham did it for himself and for his immediate family there, but the father sent his son to die once for all.
Yes.
For all. For all. So he's just really giving us this example. Matthew chapter 16. Matthew chapter 16, verses 24 through 27. So we got to keep thinking about these things. And in the coming weeks, you're going to hear the brothers talking about assessing yourself, about examining where you are. Because see, we're going to come to a point where we're going to partake in the bread and the blood. And the word says that you shouldn't do that unworthily. Unworthily. So see, now, this period right now is the time to get it right, to get it straight. Yeah. You got some time. It's coming. What did you say? A couple of weeks.
Right.
A couple of weeks. You got some time to clean house. To do that spring cleaning, to clean, so that when the ceremony of the bread and the wine comes up, that you can partake worthily. That you can come forward and do it. Matthew 16, 24 through 27. Then Yeshua told his disciples, if anyone would come after me, let him deny himself.
Yes.
You got to deny yourself. You got to. We don't want to deny ourselves. But that's our carnal selves. We don't want to deny ourselves. You know, the biggest problem with man is man doesn't know how to be content.
Wow.
Man doesn't know how to be content. A man don't want to be content with what the Father gives him, because, you know, we see so much more. There's so much more. Other people have so much more. We want it. You know, we want these material gains. We want these things because we think that these things are going to bring happiness unto us. And we're unhappy because we've deceived ourselves into thinking that happiness is in things. It's in material things. Happiness is not in material things, y'all. Joy and happiness coming from the Father. And it comes from the inside out. From the inside out, not from the outside in. It's not from the outside. You're not going to get it outside. Because, example, look at all of those celebrities that you know that have it all.
Come on.
Who live in miserable lives. They kill themselves. They kill themselves. You look at them and you think, oh, I wish I was in their spot. No, you don't. No, you don't, because look at the result, the end result of it.
Right.
You think, you know, that's why young people with the rappers and the athletes, because they have all the riches, material riches. And that seems like what you need. But the word says that those things are going to rot away.
That's right.
They're going to rot away. It says, store up heavenly treasures. Not earthly treasures, because the earthly treasures will be gone. And not only gone, someday somebody might come take it away from you.
That's right.
Take it away from you. The government might take it away from you. Give me that. And there's nothing you will be able to do about it.
Nope.
But the heavenly treasures, no man can take it away from you. That's what you got to strive for. Let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. For whoever would save his life will lose it. But whoever loses his life for my sake will find it. For what will it profit a man if he gains the whole world and forfeits his soul, his spirit? What's he going to get out of that? Is that a good deal? So don't make those deals with your life, with your spirit, with your soul. Don't make those worldly deals. You know, I believe you heard it said before, people selling their souls to the devil.
Yeah.
I believe that's true.
Oh, they do.
I believe that's true. I believe you can actually do that. Because he loved it. He loved to come in and say, okay, follow me and I'll give you everything you want.
That's right.
I'll let you be king of this world. I'll let you ride high in this life. But the problem is, this life is going to be over.
That's right.
It's going to be over someday.
Yes.
And you're going to be gone. And all the things you left
For the
behind,
people.
the children, or somebody else going to get them.
Oh, yeah.
You're not even going to have it anymore.
Mm-mm.
You know, some people work whole lives just to store up stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, rich people want to be rich.
That's right.
They never get enough. A billionaire want to be a billionaire.
Yeah.
A billionaire want to be a trillionaire. I don't know where you go from that, but they never get enough. And their hearts wax cold because, listen, we said it before, you're more apt to get $1 if you're in need from somebody poor on the street than you are from some billionaire.
Yeah. Do that.
Because the billionaire will look on you and say you're a bum, you know, with disdain and tell you to get a job, you know, or whatever. But you're more apt to get mercy from someone who has nothing, little or nothing. Is more apt to help you.
Right.
Or what shall a man give in return for his soul? What is your soul worth? What is your soul worth? What are you willing to get in return for giving it up? I hope nothing. I hope there's nothing like that at your trade. Because if you can keep that and get into the kingdom, it's all glory from that. It's all glory.
Thank you.
There's no glory in this world. There's no glory in this world. The Father's glory shines upon us, but the world itself, there's no glory. For the Son of Man is going to come with his angels in the glory of the Father.
Yes.
And then he will repay each
Hallelujah.
person according to what he or
Yes.
she has done.
Yes.
That's why you got to be thinking about this. Because you're going to get repaid according to what you do.
Yes.
You know, even if you're on that right path, I always say, see, the Father is forgiving. But forgiveness doesn't mean there's not punishment.
Come on.
Doesn't mean no punishment. The fact that he's forgiven doesn't mean that you're not going to pay a price
That's right.
for whatever it is you've done.
Oh, yes.
You know, that's you know, you see that in parenting, right? So parents love their children. If that child crosses the line, the parent is going to discipline them, whether it's with the rod or some other way.
Yes.
You know, parents going to love them. And I remember, and you've heard this, you know, and you probably say it to your kids, you know, the parents say, now I'm only doing this because I love you.
Right.
Or this is going to hurt me, but it's going to hurt you.
Right.
Right? And as a child, as a physical child, as a spiritual child, you don't see that, right?
Right.
Because I can't understand how you telling me that this beating or this whipping you about to put on me is going to hurt you more. But I'm the recipient of it. But you know, as a parent, because you love your child, unless you're an abuser, there's no enjoyment in disciplining your child. There's no enjoyment in that. That's not something that you celebrate afterwards. You don't go around like, yes, call up all your friends, y'all beat them good today. You know, I feel good about it. You know, and it works sometimes. 'Cause I remember once with Lemoyne Jr., he did something, and I took him in the restroom where we would go sometimes, and I gave him, you know, what he was in there for. And then I told him, you know what, son? I love you. I just want you to understand. I love you. You might not understand it now, but you love me. You know, it was some years later that he brought that subject up again. He said, you know what? He said, I was mad that day that you looked. He said, but you know, it really made me feel good at the end of it when you said you love me. When you still told me you love me, because I believe that you love me. You know, in the moment I was angry. And that's what it is. So when the Father chastises you,
Yes.
however that is,
Yes.
just know that he loves you.
Yes.
That whatever he has done, whatever punishment he's meted out to you, understand that it's through his love that he's doing it.
Yes.
He's doing it to prevent you from going the wrong way, to get you back where you need to get. And he's doing it so that you get that punishment now so that you don't have to get it at the end. So that you don't have to end up into that eternal fire that you're going to find.
Yes. Yes.
Because unlike a lot of people, we here believe that there's a fire and that some are going to be cast into it. Do y'all know that there are people who believe that that's not going to happen?
Yeah.
That no one is going to be cast into the fire? That everybody's saved?
Right.
You know? And that's why we always bring up, so if everybody's saved, why is there going to be judgment?
Right.
There'd be no need for judgment if everybody's saved, right? Why is there judgment? Everybody's saved, we don't need judgment.
Yeah.
So the Father's trying to let us deal with our shortcomings in this carnal, physical life. So that it don't cost us our spiritual life, so that it don't cost us our soul, like he said. You can write this one, Proverbs 3, 5 and 6. Trust in Yahweh with all your heart. And do not lean on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make straight your path. Now I know we've read that, we've heard that many times, but do we believe it? Do we walk? Do we live like we really believe it? So in other words, do we really trust in him this way? Like I was saying, when we're trying to handle our own circumstances, are we really trusting in him?
Yes.
And it's the opposite. We're showing a lack of trust when we step out that way. When we step out that way. James chapter 4. James chapter 4. You see, we've just got to, as I said before, talking about, we say we're in the Spirit, but we got to walk by the Spirit. We got to live our lives like that. We've got to, if we're the elect, we got to act like this.
Yes.
If we're the saved, then we got to act like that. We got to act like we believe it. We got to act like it's more than just lip service, that we actually believe it. And the way that you act like you believe it is by how you live. By how you live. James 4, starting at verse 2. James 4, starting at verse 2. You ask and do not receive, because you ask with the wrong motives.
Yes.
You're asking the wrong way. You're asking for the wrong thing. You don't understand. And you wonder, because some people say, well, I'm praying, you don't answer my prayers. What are you praying for? What are you praying for? So do we think that if we just pray for anything, it's going to be granted unto us? The Father has more wisdom than that. It's us who lack wisdom. We lack wisdom. We ask for things that we don't need. We ask for things that in the end are going to be harmful to us. And the Father in his wisdom doesn't grant those things. He won't grant them to us. And we get angry, right? Father never answers my prayers. But maybe you ought to be praying for the right thing. So that, he said, you ask for the wrong motive so that you may spend it on your own pleasure. See, that's what we're doing. We're asking for him to satisfy our pleasures.
Yes.
So we want him to satisfy our carnal needs, our carnal beliefs. We want him to satisfy us carnally. When he's trying to satisfy you spiritually.
Yes.
When he's trying to get you on that spiritual plane. You adulteresses, do you not know that friendship with the world is hostility toward Yahweh? So you want to stay in the world? It says that friendship with the world is hostility toward Yahweh. So how can you say that you of the world and that you are with Yahweh? Because this word is saying that it's hostility toward him. Therefore, whoever wishes to be a friend of the world makes himself, and understand this, and it's not my words, but it's the word of the Father. It says, whoever wishes to be a friend of the world makes himself an enemy unto Yahweh. An enemy. This is how serious this is. This is why it's important to come out of the world. Yeah. To come out of the world. And we slip sometimes. I'll just tell you. I'd say that I work for probation and parole. I also work with ATC, alcohol and tobacco control. They use me as a witness at times. I go out with kids to stores and bars, restaurants, and the kids underage people attempt to buy alcohol or tobacco. And I'm there to witness if a sale is made. So I'll take a picture of a transaction or whatever. And so in trying to keep the place, last night they called me out, and I went, y'all. And I don't know, has anybody ever heard of something called Buku Fest?
It's happening.
Buku Fest? So Buku Fest is going on right now. It was going on last night. And you know what? Honestly, I didn't know anything about it. I didn't know what it was about or what was going on with it. So I got off from my regular job and went there. It's up here by Mardi Gras World, up here by the river.
Yep.
I went up there, and even when I'm coming from the West Bank and I'm coming off the Chapel Tulis exit, and I'm turning on the Chapel Tulis, and I'm immediately in shock.
That's right.
Because
Oh, yeah.
you have, and honestly, it was mostly white folks, y'all.
That's right.
There's a few of us out there.
Exclusively, right?
But most of the young ladies, young
That's
women,
right.
they were mostly young women who were out there,
Uh-huh.
were literally like in pants.
Naked.
Some of them just had pasties on their breasts.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was like everybody, I was like,
Fish neck.
what is this? So
Everything hanging out.
we actually go in there, and because like I said, we taking the kids to the booths to try to buy beer or whatever. And it was so terrible for me because I'm just standing there and I'm with some other people in the actual ATC agents. I'm with them and I'm like, this is just killing my spirit right now. Because and the thing of it was, y'all, and this is the truth, I allowed. And I was telling the girl that I worked with who was there with me, and I was telling her how I was feeling. She was like, but it's okay. I said, no, it's not okay.
No, it's not.
It's not okay because I allowed this to happen. I allowed myself to end up in this spot. I allowed myself to be in this spot. So now I'm in the midst of this debauchery that's just like trying to put, and it was like a 4-hour deal, so for 4 hours, I'm suffering. I really am. I'm completely suffering because there is nothing about this that I'm okay with. That I'm a lot of people know, and a lot of the young people gonna know this guy Kevin Gates was there, and when he came on to whatever stage, I don't really know him. I've seen some stuff written about him, whatever. But he's apparently a real popular rapper, singer.
I got 2 phones.
And when he came on, it was just like a satanic party. I mean, everybody was just jumping up and down, and I mean, it was like they was all in sync. It was like what you picture of some occult act going on. People think we're in a cult here. But that was really cultish. It really was. I mean,
It really impacted them all.
I was about to say, I wish you could have seen it, but I don't wish you could.
Thank you, Lord.
I really don't. And really, I had to get home last night and get down on my knees and say, what's wrong? I know I work for these people looking. And you know what it was is, you try to keep the assignments so they can keep coming because if you turn down assignments, you fall off the list. But I won't make that mistake again. That's what I was just saying. See, sometimes you give in, you fall, you let other things. And so, see, it's everybody.
Everybody.
So when we get up here and speak, it's not just about what's happened to you or what you do. We live in life too. We live in life too. Just because we get up and minister unto you doesn't mean that we live in a real life, because we live in a real life. We live in a real life, and we are susceptible to the same things that you are susceptible to. And we have to fight just as hard as you have to fight it off. Because just because you became a minister, you wasn't given some pass away from it all. Away from it. We still got to prove the same things you got to prove. We still got to obey and walk with y'all in that way. So if anybody ever invites you to something called Buku Fest, it was Buku evilness. It was Buku debauchery.
Yes.
That's what they should have just put all those words on the end of it. I should have known when it was called Buku Fest, right?
Well,
that just means a lot of something, right? I should have just understood that. Or do you think that the scripture speaks to no purpose? He jealously desires the Spirit which he has made to dwell in us. But he gives a greater grace. Therefore it says, Yah is opposed to the proud, but he gives grace to the humble. He gives grace to the humble. We got to be humble unto him and to his way. Submit therefore to Yah. Resist the devil, and he will flee from you. He will flee from you if you resist. But the resistance has to be real. It can't be that fake resistance, like, just start go away. No, you got to put the word on it. You got to call upon the Father and resist. Because see, of yourself, how can you resist? You need power. Where does your power come from? That's it. So you need the power. So when you resist, you got to go to the Word and to the Father to resist him, and then he will flee. Draw near to Yah, and he will draw near to you. Cleanse your hands, you sinners, and purify your homes. You double-minded.
Yes.
So see, it's time for spring cleaning. It's time for spiritual spring cleaning. It's time to cleanse our hands. It's time to not be double-minded. And you know, I think it's good that we share, like I just shared that with you, circumstances like that, so you know. Because sometimes, you know, people let Satan put them into a box where they think, you know, they only have weaknesses, they only have frailties. You know, they can't overcome it because they don't understand that even our brother Yahushua,
Yes.
he was tempted, y'all.
Yes,
He
he was.
overcame it.
Yes, he did.
He was tempted. Look, he was tempted in his weakest moment, because you think you had your
Right.
weakest moment. But what, he fasted 40 days and 40 nights?
Yes.
So physically, he was drained. As we fast, what, 3 days and barely make it, you know? But he fasted for 40 days and 40 nights, and then the evil tempter came, right?
Yes.
So temptation is a part of our walk. It's a part of our life. You know, the temptation is not the issue. It's how we respond.
Yes, yes,
It's
yes.
how we come through.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Psalms 9, verse 10. You can write it. Psalms 9, verse 10. And those who know your name put their trust in you. For you, O Yah, have not forsaken those who seek you. See, those are encouraging words. You know his name, and you call upon him, but you know that, unlike a man, that he will not forsake you. You just got to be patient and let him do, because he knows when the time is right to bring you through. You just got to be patient enough to wait for him to bring you through that way. To bring you through. Corinthians. 1 Corinthians chapter 10. 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 13. No temptation has overtaken you that is not common to man. So what's happening to you is no different than what's happening to everybody. It's not like there's some special temptation for you that's worse than whatever somebody else can get. It says that, you know, nothing has changed, right? Nothing, everything is the same. You know, what you're tempted with today is the same thing that those in the past were tempted.
Right.
Yes.
Way back to the beginning. So you got to stand in that time. And you got to be strong. You know, in temptation, the Father has showed us some examples in His Word of those who were tempted and how they came through it. How they were faithful and the reward they got from it. And the first example, and we've covered this before, is Daniel chapter 3, 16 to 18. You know the story already, but I'm going to read a little bit of it. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered the king, O Nebuchadnezzar, we have no need to answer you in this matter. Because if you know the story, you know that the slick ones in Nebuchadnezzar's court had went and told him, otherwise they're praying to the God, but we need you, you need to have a day of your own, a day when you're the only one that's going to be worshipped. And so the king in his own glory, trying to glorify himself, they bumped up his head, as the kids would say, his henchmen bumped up his head, saying that he should get the glory himself. So he decreed that at this time, no one is allowed to worship any other god, because I'm a god, you got to worship me. But those three boys weren't having it. So after, when it came down and they were praying anyway, the king came to him, and that's why they said, we have no need to answer you in this matter. And they said, if this be so, our Elohim who we serve, he is able to deliver us. Because this was after he's told them, the decree was that they was going to go into the fiery furnace, right?
Yes.
So the fiery furnace. So they knew that they had to go into the furnace. And he's saying, well, if this be so, we're going to go, he says, because the Elohim we serve is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace.
Right.
And he will deliver us out of your hand, O king. Because you don't really have power, O king. He has the power. He'll deliver us out of your hand. But if not, understand that, Nebuchadnezzar, if he chooses not to, if not, be it known to you, O king, that we will not serve your gods or worship the golden image that you have set up. So they're saying that, look, he can serve us, he can save us, But even if he don't say it, we still not gonna do it. That's the power and the strength that we have to grow to. That's where we have to get to, y'all. We've got to get to that place. Another example is what I was talking about earlier, Genesis 22, 2 through 14. This is about Abraham and Isaac. He said, take your son, and look, and then the word went on to make it even a little bit more serious for him. He said, take your son, your only son. Your only son Isaac, not just your son, but your only son Isaac, whom you love, and go to the land of Moriah, and offer him there as a burnt offering on one of the mountains of which I shall tell you. So Abraham rose early in the morning, saddled his donkey, and took 2 of his young men with him, and his son Isaac. And he cut the wood for the burnt offering, and arose and went to the place of which Yah had told him. On the 3rd day, Abraham lifted up his eyes and saw the place from afar. Then Abraham said to the young men, stay here with the donkey, and I and the boy will go over there and worship and come to you again. We coming back, y'all. We're not just going, but we coming back. And Abraham took the wood of the burnt offering and laid it on Isaac his son. And he took in his hand the fire and the knife. So they both went together. And we know that from there, you know, it got to the point where Isaac was like, okay, Dad, where are we going to sacrifice? Lamb or something. I don't see no lamb going up here, but, you know, because Isaac didn't know, you know, think of that. Walking with your own child, with your loved one, and that's fine. And now they ask me, that'd be like little Ethan asking me the same thing, like, you know, because you know you love him, but you know what? You know that you got to be obedient. You got to be obedient. So we know the story that as he was going to do it, the angel of Yah appeared to him and said, don't do it. Spare the land. Look over there. I got a ram in the bush for you. So I had to sacrifice here for you. I just wanted to see if you was going to do my will. All right. And you know, that's what you got to think about in your life. Sometimes when you're faced with certain things, it may just be that test. The same kind of test Abraham went through. That it seems something difficult that you don't really want to do, and you're trying to avoid it, but if you do it, you might get to that point where the angel steps into you too and says, no, it's not necessary to do that. I just wanted to see if you're going to be obedient. If you're going to do my will. Philippians chapter 2. Philippians 2. Start in verse 5. Philippians 2 and 5. This is what we have to do. Have this attitude in yourselves, which was also in Yahushua HaMashiach, who although he existed in the form of Elohim, did not regard equality with Yah his Father a thing to be grasped. So although he had the same kind of power, the same kind of authority, he didn't try to usurp it from him. He didn't want to fight him for it as the evil one, Satan, wanted to try to take over. He just wanted to continue to be obedient to him and do his will, which he proved by this act of peace, which is coming forward. But he emptied himself, taking the form of a bondservant, a mere man, being made in the likeness of men. Being found in appearance as a man, he humbled himself by becoming obedient to the point of death. Death on a tree.
Yes.
Therefore, also Yah highly exalted him and bestowed on him the name which is above every other name. Because of his obedience, he got the name which is above every other name.
Yes.
And so, but even in that, listen, he still is not selfish, because his promise to us is that if we live right, if we do his will, his throne, he is willing to share with us. It says that we could actually sit on the throne with him. That's going to be a big throne, y'all.
Got a big lap.
Yeah, you got a big lap. We're going to sit on, if you do right, you can sit on the throne with him. So that the name of Yahushua, at the name of Yahushua, every knee will bow.
Yes.
Of those who are on heaven and on earth and on under the earth. And every tongue shall confess that Yahushua is Moishe. and the glory of Yah the Father. So every knee shall bend, every tongue shall bow. We are going to close this up, Romans 12. Romans 12. Some kind of way, we come back to this particular scripture a lot. It's one that you can't get away from because it's what we got to do. So, when you spring clean, take these words with you as you do your spiritual spring clean. Romans 12. Therefore, I urge you, brethren, by the mercies of Yah, to present your bodies a living and holy sacrifice, acceptable to Yah, which is your spiritual service of worship. And do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. How often? Daily. Every minute, every hour, every second. So that you may prove what the will of Yah is, that which is good and acceptable and perfect. For through the grace given to me, I say to everyone among you, not to think more highly of himself than he ought to think, but to think so as he have sound judgment, as Yah has allotted to each a measure of faith. For just as we have many members in one body, and all the members do not have the same function, so we who are many are one body with Yahushua, and individually members of one another. So that's why everyone has to do that spring cleaning, because we're all together. Hallelujah. See, when we all come together as one body, you can't have my dirt in there. You can't have my spiritual dirt in there. You got to clean it out. So that when this body becomes one, that is perfect, and that is clean, and that we can serve. So as we approach peace out, examine yourself.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Think about where you are.
Yes.
Cleanse your heart. Cleanse your mind through the word and through the renewing of your mind daily. Ask the Father to wash you as white as snow.
Yes.
To cleanse your heart and your mind so that you can be worthy to partake in the bread.
We want to go. We want to eat. Mama, what do you want to make? Mama, what do you want me to make?
And we ain't going nowhere.
We thank the Father, hallelujah, for a word of truth, hallelujah. Have you considered the time of the season? Have you really thought about the fact that if we approach Pesach and we are not worthy, the Father has a problem with that. He has given us instructions on how to be redeemed. And we are redeemed through his plan of salvation. And his plan of salvation begins with the blood. Is your doorpost ready? Again, Pharaoh didn't believe. The word says not one house in Egypt, there was not one house that didn't have at least one dead person at the hand of the destroyer. Because there was no approach to being worthy when the time came. We have an opportunity